Hey, this is Troy Taylor with the Life Lessons Podcast. We got the man from Seal, the man from Soul, Crystal Ball Hall in the house. Today's life lesson. Life is a pattern. Coach Lambo is big on the process. The longer I live, the more I see a pattern to things. Paul, do you subscribe to this belief that life is a pattern?
I totally do. I totally genuinely do. I mean, things happen for a reason, and in the pattern, you have to you still have to make decisions, but you don't fight against the pattern. Just allow things to happen, and when you come to turns in the road, make a solid decision and go down that road.
Go down that road.
Yes. Don't overthink things. And again, I'm just as guilty of that as a lot of people because I just get too involved in a lot of things. But no, just sit back and let it happen. Let it happen.
Let it happen. Let it ride.
Mm-hmm.
What got me on this thing about life as a pattern is, studying sacred geometry and Pythagoras and Plato and Allegory of the Cave and Dr. Carl Jung. And I heard that when they used to build these big buildings like the pyramids, like the Taj Mahal, and they built pyramids everywhere, all around the world, they used a pattern. They used geometry. And they knew, just like my friend Mike Spencer told me, he said, Troy, hang things on your wall in your house that are important because your kids are going to see those things, or my son is going to see those things, and they're going to remember them.
Mm-hmm.
I started thinking about this, thinking about pictures or signs that were hanging up at my parents' house or my grandparents' house. And those things that we see and were around affect us. And they knew the same thing about buildings. If the buildings had symmetry and the buildings had a pattern, the people would follow the pattern. It makes me wonder why houses today are not built with a pattern or symmetry. So, thinking back, when you were a kid, what are some things that were hanging in your grandparents' house or your parents' house that helped you to follow the pattern? Have you ever thought of this before?
I have not.
Well, it's kind of like a locker room. It's kind of like Neon Dion Prime Time Coach Prime Sanders from Fort Myers, Florida, has about 1,000 signs hanging up in his office. And when you have 1,000 signs, and there's 5,000 words on each 1,000 sign, you don't know what's important. There's too many words. So like Bill Belichick had, do your job. Trust the process. Like at my grandparents' house in Hopewell, they always had a picture of the Last Supper in the dining room, which was between the living room and the kitchen. They always had crosses. They had crucifix. They had the thing from, Palm Sunday stuff behind. They had things about Pope John Paul II because he was Polish. And those are things that I remember. Those are things that were important. So now that I say these things, and then the guy I talked to yesterday said wind chimes. And I was like, what? I was like, he's like, have you ever been to a house that didn't have wind chimes? I was like, yeah. I was like, now, like my grandparents, yeah, they had wind chimes
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't have ear pods. They didn't have AirPods. They didn't have Bluetooth. They didn't have a speaker that could shake the neighborhood. Like, it's a pattern. It's frequency. It's a vibration. So from what I'm saying, what are you thinking?
No, I totally get it. Man, there's so many things, but I'll just start with do your job. Like, it's just an iconic phrase, but if you dig deeper and do your job, 3 words, and you look back at the totality of the Patriots run, man, you can learn a lot, man, because at the end of the day, they took a simple phrase, applied it, and they were able to do more with less. More with less. It's just funny to me how when people go on historic runs in sports or anywhere, they always the narrative is they have the best players, they have the best talent. Man, if you could sit in front of me and tell me that the Patriots have the best players and the best talent, then I don't want to have a conversation with you because you don't know what you're talking about. Like, everyone down to Tom Brady made a living doing their job. Yeah. And doing their job turned some players, I'm not going to say superstar players, it turned them into superstars because all they did what was told of them. And collectively, it turned into championships. It turned into success. But when you look, I mean, if you've watched a game or if you've watched a sport or you've looked at a unit in the military or even at a corporation, you know sometimes the most talented teams don't win. I mean, you have people that do their job and they work hard in corporate America and they make it. But now they become, oh, they were just talented. No, they weren't. Don't change the narrative just because they're successful. All they did was their job. Doing your job creates successful people. But again, in life, in any walk of life, when you win, you were just talented. Patriots weren't that talented in retrospect to everyone else out there. But everyone on that team followed those 3 words. Everyone in that franchise followed those 3 words. Down to your guy Ernie sitting in the basement. What is your job description? You do it. If your job description is play safety, you do that. Don't worry about what the quarterback or the tight end or the linebackers are doing.
Yeah.
Do your job because collectively it turns into a success. And by doing your job, it doesn't make them talented. It just makes them disciplined players. And then we anoint them as superstars, but all they did was their job. Don't ever think they were more talented than what they were. They just followed that narrative. Because you put a lot of those guys on different teams and we wouldn't even know who they were.
They followed that pattern.
Yes.
Life is a pattern. And Mr. Beast, the most successful YouTuber of all time, said the cheat code to life is to surround yourself with people you want to be like. These are people that have the same pattern that you want to have. He's gotten fat and out of shape, so he's surrounding himself with bodybuilders. Why? Because they know the pattern. And in this day and age, You can believe there is a pattern. You can believe there isn't a pattern. You can believe that you are the pattern, or you can write your own pattern. But the pattern is still the pattern. It's called the golden rule for a reason, because it's the golden rule. Treat people how you want to be treated. Do what's right. Do your best. Treat people how you want to be treated. That's the 3 rules that I stole from Lou Holtz, who is a master of the game. Not just football, but of life, of the pattern. There's a pattern. Nick Saban knows the pattern. He calls it the process.
Mm-hmm.
But life is a pattern. And I think that there are people in this world who know the pattern, and they are so caught up on making people obey this pattern, the pattern of your phone, the pattern of instant gratification. And like the guy told me, what's up, Chance? Coach Gray taught me something, and it works because I did it. I had to turn it off. Go to your phone, go to the settings, and change your phone to grayscale, black and white. You will not want to look at your phone. But when you see all of these colors, there's a reason it has all these colors. Because life is a pattern. Humans have a pattern. And not believing in a pattern, not believing in a way of doing things, it's a recipe. I mean, thinking there isn't a recipe, thinking that you can create your own recipe, this is new. This is new in the history of the world. Or that the pattern created the pattern. They thought about this a long time ago. This is not new. Paul, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Have you ever heard it described like this?
I haven't, but again, it's not new. I mean, before we had cell phones, we had telephones. Everything is plagiarized upon. There's nothing new. There's not there, like you said. There's no creating a new pattern. It's not new that we have cell phones instead of telephones. It was just made better. Just like making yourself better. You don't have to be a new you. You just got to make yourself better, because you can't change who you are. You're the person that was born on a certain date, and you can wake up in the morning and make that person better. We can wake up in the morning and make cell phones better. They get better every year. But they were derived from just the regular telephone, because it was a communication device.
I mean, it's everything combined into one. I mean, it's a mobile computer. You really don't even need a laptop, Paul. It's a waste of money to buy a laptop. Your phone is better than making a laptop. I mean, you if you want a different mic, you can get a mic to plug into your phone and have a little lapel thing, like $20 on Amazon. Like, this is a $30 mic. I got a totem pole sticker on it. Like, somebody's like, what do you need to have a podcast? A phone and press record. Did you ever think that the pattern would lead you to being a podcaster? And I had so much fun last night, man.
Doing what?
I had so much fun playing the game with y'all, doing our live stream of all the players. And I missed the Harbaugh question, because Harbaugh used to coach for the Raiders. I thought he played for them that game.
Oh, yes. No, it was Colts, Chargers, and Bears.
I think that we could go. I think we could go do some damage in that game. I think we need to have like a competition, dude. Like we need to call other people out and do like barstool trivia. Like we need to compete in this. I think those 4 guys. I think I need to study more. If I could study who's been on what multiple teams and become an expert in that, I think I could be excellent. But
yeah,
like Ernie Adams says, he doesn't believe in photographic memory. He believes in practice. So he believes in a pattern. A pattern. Like man doesn't make his habits. Habits make his man. If you can watch people, watch kids. They will show you your pattern. I have some kids I know. They're in my family, and they're kindergartners. And there's 3 of them. And 2 of them have been kicked out of every school that they've ever been to. Preschool, summer camp, and it has to do with the pattern. Kids learn by what they see. Kids learn by what they're around. And there's no kid that wants to be kicked out of every school. Kids like going to school. They like going to kindergarten. It's like growing up. You follow a pattern. What else can you think, Paul? Life lessons about the pattern and what you've learned. The military. Football is more like the military pattern than it is a reality show pattern with a Lamborghini, in a hat with a sword and a WWE belt. That's not the pattern. That's the wizard. Okay? That's the wizard not being a wizard. That's illusion. It's deception. It's magic. It's not real. But the pattern is real.
The pattern.
Paul, what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, the pattern for us was be a team guy or girl first, and worry about yourself second. But if you do that, then you're going to be successful. Like when you fight the pattern and you try to create your own narrative, meaning I'm an army of one myself. That ain't going to work. I'll tell you right now, that will not work. At some point, you will get caught up, and you will demaximize your potential, because you will leave no matter what. You will leave the service, and you will not maximize your potential. Meaning, you could have went further if you just followed the pattern. Meaning, be a team player, do your job. The cream is always gonna rise to the top. If that cream includes you, then everyone's there to support you. But if it doesn't, that means your carton of milk has expired. And I hope you enjoyed the journey that you were on, because that means you've maximized your potential.
And the pattern says that human beings don't want to just do their job. They want a better job, or they want to get the boss fired. Look here.
Yes.
This is Julius Caesar. And the pattern I was taught was, Troy, when you're Julius Caesar, there's always going to be et brute. Those toner mics are the best. Brandon Toms. Everybody's always trying to be the chief, to be the boss,
yes,
to take the boss's job, to get the boss fired. But the best way to become the boss is to help the team be successful. That's the pattern. If you do good and you move up, people are gonna hate you. That's the pattern. Oh, someone can predict the future. No, they just know the pattern. And the pattern that I had an intuition was that the pattern was going to lead the Dallas Mavericks to the finals. It was just a feeling. It was the feeling of Kyrie, a feeling of Luka. And Luka, I just read an article. Luka was too worried about the referees. He's following the pattern. Dude, just play the game.
No, you couldn't be more spot on. I mean, and again, I just, there's so many things that like, you know, people like, and I like people that I know that aren't into sports that, you know, sometimes they don't like when people talk about it. But what we're talking about is real life stuff, meaning you can apply it anywhere. And Luka Doncic is a fine example of just play the game, do your job. It goes back to, because when he starts getting outside of himself, and I really paid attention to the Mavs because I had to, because the game now there's just solo games on. But I know you have vested interest in this. But I watched them. When Luka is doing his job, I don't know if there's a better team in the league. But when Luka wants to step back threes, don't pass the ball, and talk to the referees every time down, then they look like a mess.
I mean, it's like when Peyton Manning is got the ball and he's off. And, you know, the whole offense revolves around Peyton Manning. The Colts lose. And you got to take what the defense is giving you. And if they're putting two people on Luka, then that means someone else is open. And you got to get the ball to the dude. And that's why I think Joker is so good. Is because Joker, those guys, they're like Larry Birds. I mean, they're like Magic Johnsons. They get the ball to the guy who is open, and that guy's got to do his job.
But when he's playing
yes,
his best, he is on the same. He's on the same stage as Joker.
Yes.
I saw it, and I'm like, oh my God. Oh my! I mean, like the guy in Jurassic Park.
When I hear Allen Iverson say that Kyrie Irving is the greatest ball handler of all time, and then he says Luka could play with him, I'm like, okay, like if Bubba Chuck thinks Kyrie's the greatest ball handler of all time, and I never was a big Kyrie fan, but I respected him. I thought he was a smaller Kobe. He's probably a better ball handler, but his game is like Kobe and Dwayne Wade and Jordan. But he's not a high riser or anything. But Luka,
and again, all right, I'm glad you said that.
They got to follow the pattern.
They had Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson for the Knicks is in his slot. He has to have the ball, and again, they're winning with absolutely nothing. Because Jalen Brunson is a star, and he's finally in the slot he belongs. But when Luka's playing his game, then Kyrie gets 10 times better because Kyrie doesn't need the ball. You can facilitate their team through Luka, but to have Kyrie sitting there as your option B, that's when they're dangerous.
I mean, they are 50 all time.
I mean, I'm on board with you. I saw it. I saw them at their best, and I saw them at their worst. At their best, I don't know. They play their best for a whole series, and Luka does that snapshot in time of being that guy. I don't know if anyone can beat them. I really don't. It's amazing to see. But again, people are like, "What are you talking about? Stop talking about sports." And blah, blah, blah. But that's the same thing in life. When you go on a coaching staff or a teacher's room, meaning a group of teachers that teach history, if somebody goes off the reservation and you're not doing this thing as a group from 9th through 12th grade of how do you want this to flow for the kids, if somebody wants to do their own thing and like doesn't want to do the team thing to get the kids from 9th to 12th grade, it's the same concept.
Yes. It's a pattern. And I think in order to really know the pattern, you got to be in it a long time. You got to pay attention to the pattern. That's why guys like Saban and Belichick are the greatest of all time. It's because they know the pattern. Like, they know the recipe. NFL football is based off a quarterback. It's based off of you got to have a tight end or another tight end to play fullback, a tailback, 2 receivers, and you got to play defense. And like, there's a recipe, and Belichick knows the pattern. Man, I mean it. And the pattern, it's crazy. It will reveal itself to you. And I told the story about, like, when buildings have to have symmetry and have a pattern so they don't fall down. And they knew a long time ago that human beings were affected by pattern, by balance, by symmetry. Like, when you see things without balance and symmetry and without pattern, and even not having a pattern is a pattern. Like, you can see it, and the people who are successful have a pattern, and there's a way to do things, and it's your habits, just like your pattern. You get up and you go walk. That is part of your pattern. We could say it's a ritual. It's something that you do every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I really believe that there's people in this world that have us convinced that certain things are evil, when really they're just trying to scare us from learning about the pattern. Yeah. Like, dude, a triangle ain't evil. The all-seeing eye ain't evil. They don't want you to believe in the pattern. They don't want you to believe there is a collective unconsciousness, that there is an all-seeing eye. I mean, these things are not new, and we've been blessed. We have been blessed. In the whole deal, why do we do what we do? 1, change lives. 2, help others. 3, build champions. You're not a champion because you got a plastic trophy. You're a champion because what's inside you. That building was built not because of what's outside. It's about what it represents and what's inside, because your body is a temple. Have you ever heard that, Paul? Your body is a temple. What
Correct.
does that mean to you?
Is the temple. 100% of the people can see you on the outside, but only you know what's on the inside, and you're the only one who knows what goes in the inside. But what you put on the inside affects your outside. It affects your mood. It affects your physical appearance, and that's what people see. And people can actually tell you about yourself by just looking at your outside. What's going on your inside? Your mood, your physical appearance, your attitude, your aptitude.
Your energy.
Yes.
We all have energy. We all are energy. They say everything is energy. I'm not smart enough to even understand what that means. But people say that my energy is contagious. But isn't everybody's energy contagious?
Yep. Because they're all different.
But when that energy is united and that energy is working towards, thank you, Mr. Jones. Wow. Look at that. Man, $2 to the Totem Pole Nation.
Wow.
you, brother.
Thanks, man.
Keep it up. I'm here for you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, brother. We're here for you. We're a team. We're Totem Pole Nation. We're all on the same level. But in life, everybody's got a job to do, and everybody can't be on the same level. You have to know your job, do your job, know your role, stay in your lane. What's up, Brian? What's up, Jones? Thank y'all. And why did they build those pyramids? Because they could. They know how they built those pyramids, because those guys, they were not all on the same level, but they all had that energy, that spirit, the esprit de corps, united. And if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, they say you can move a mountain. Well, when they built those pyramids, they moved a mountain. They built a mountain, and it was perfect. It's undefeated. It's undefeated, y'all. They said if you had the Ark of the Covenant, that you would never lose. Well, maybe we are the Ark of the Covenant. And maybe if it is united, that would be bad for certain people. Maybe that's why they don't want us to know how they built those pyramids. Because the body is a temple, and so is that pyramid. So is the Taj Mahal. So is Hagia Sophia. I think I'm saying it wrong. Those things had symmetry. They had balance. My man, Crystal Ball Paul. You know the pattern. You know sports. We're not saying you can predict the future, but you know the pattern, and you have intuition because you have years in this. Your nickname is Sports Center. What are you thinking?
What am I thinking?
Yes.
I'm thinking LeBron's going back to Cleveland, and he's dropping bird crumbs, bird seeds everywhere.
And his son's going with him?
Correct.
The pattern, they say history repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
It does. And watch Deion and watch LeBron, and it's pretty obvious what their motives are.
Mm-hmm.
And every king wants their son to be the prince. But in the Roman Empire,
and they say they don't, but both of them, they love the attention, and that's why we'll never get away from LeBron. He'll be around us forever, because when he leaves the league, he's gonna go walk right into owning a team in Las Vegas. They're holding this spot for him, and then he will be the center of attention once more, forever. Trust me.
But he will never be Michael Jordan.
No.
It doesn't matter what he tries to be.
Yes.
Because Michael Jordan is his genuine self. That really is who he is. He does not want to sign your autograph, and he's not scared to tell you that. I mean,
but again, if you don't like attention, I'll leave it at this, because I wanted to have a conversation about this. Game 4 of the NBA playoffs. It's the NBA playoffs. You play for another franchise, and you're supposed to be the best player in the game. Why do you need to sit courtside at a Cleveland Cavaliers game? Why do you even have to show up? And why do you walk in right before tip-off so everyone goes crazy? Why?
Because you know the pattern.
Really? Like, your people?
You broke up a little bit.
I said, your people don't tell you that's a bad idea? No, they don't. They tell you it's a great idea.
Yeah, because it's the pattern. And they think people are stupid and they can't pick up on the pattern.
Correct.
There is a pattern. Nothing happens by accident.
No, it doesn't. Like you said, well, he could have just, I hate the people who say he could have just innocently just wanted to catch an NBA game.
No, he
Really?
doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't go anywhere
No,
without it being planned.
no.
He's
And
LeBron James.
you did not belong there. You gobbled up as soon as he walked in. The game was secondary, and that's what he wanted.
Wow.
And it's just, I mean, it's just he did that.
You don't like that.
No, because you don't, in his position, you don't have to do that.
Tom Brady never did it.
He's the number one name of the league, and
He's
you
the number
show
one
up to a
name in all of
playoff game
sports. He's the number one name in all of sports.
and you show up at the place that you started playing in a playoff game that involves other people and other teams that you're not on. Wowzers!
You know the pattern. You know his
You know-
pattern.
Yeah, I know his pattern. It's I need attention. Don't forget about me.
Guess what? They will forget about you. Trust me. They forget about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They forget about everybody. People have forgotten about Michael. Don't ever forget about that man.
But Michael wouldn't do that.
No, because Michael is who he is. And some people don't like that, but he is genuine. That is really who he is.
No.
That's
And even
why,
if he wanted to,
that's why he lost.
if he wanted to be somewhere live to see a game, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Coach, I got to go. St.
Okay.
Pete Rejuvenate, autograph.io. We love you. Coach, what time is Totem Pole Sports on today?
I'm not really sure, but I would probably say 4 or 5 o'clock. We'll get with Lambo and we will put it out there to the people.
We love y'all.